As she sat watching the world go by, something caught her eye. It wasn't so much its color or shape, but the way it was moving. She squinted to see if she could better understand what it was and where it was going, but it didn't help. As she continued to stare into the distance, she didn't understand why this uneasiness was building inside her body. You ever feel like life is pressing down on you? Like no matter how hard you try, the doors stay shut? Like the harder you push, the heavier the resistance? Let me tell you something. That ain't coincidence. That's not just bad luck. That's not just life playing tricks on you. Sometimes it's a divine setup. Sometimes it's God preparing the stage before he brings the spotlight on you. Now listen close, because before something big happens in your life, before God releases something major, you will start to see the sign. Not signs in the sky, not flashing lights or neon boards, but quiet shifts, sacred patterns. They don't come to everyone, only to those God is choosing to elevate. Only to those who've been in the fire long enough to be refined, not burned. You hear what I'm saying? You will know something big is on the horizon when you start feeling unusually uncomfortable. You ever been in a season where everything that once felt normal starts to feel foreign? The places that used to give you peace suddenly feel empty. The people that once made you feel safe, they just don't feel the same. That's God disconnecting you. See, when he's about to move you into something greater, he has to make where you are now uncomfortable, because if he didn't, you'd never leave. Growth don't happen in comfort. You're being pushed out for a reason. You'll feel alone, like nobody gets you anymore, like the phone stops ringing, the invitations stop coming, the people you used to count on, they're suddenly distant, and you're left wondering, what did I do? But it ain't what you did. It's what you're about to do. See, isolation is often God's first sign that he's calling you closer. When he separates you, he speaks to you. And when you're in the crowd too long, you miss the whisper. And God, he don't always shout. Sometimes he whispers in the silence. And you got to be still enough to hear him. You'll start losing things. Opportunities you thought were perfect will fall through. Plans you worked so hard on will crumble. But don't cry over closed doors. Thank God for them. You don't even know what he just protected you from. You thought it was a delay, but God saw a disaster. That's divine rejection. That's sacred redirection. God knows what's around the corner. And sometimes what you want right now would rob you of what you need later. Let it go. He's not punishing you. He's positioning you. And then the dreams start getting bigger. You'll wake up with ideas that don't make sense, thoughts that seem too big for someone like you. That's not arrogance. That's vision. That's God dropping seeds in your spirit, showing you what's possible. Because before he does it through you, he has to show it to you. You'll start seeing things in your spirit that your reality can't catch up to yet. That's called walking by faith. And let me tell you, faith will always feel foolish before it feels fulfilling. People will laugh at you. Let them laugh. They laughed at Noah until it rained. You'll feel a fire inside, a restlessness, a stirring, like something is waking up in your bones. You won't be able to shake it. That's not anxiety. That's purpose trying to be born. You've been too quiet for too long. You've been playing small to make others feel comfortable. But when God is calling you to something big, you can't stay hidden. You can't shrink. That fire is your signal. It's time to move. Don't ignore it. Don't put it out. Let it burn. Your warfare will intensify. The attacks will get stronger. The temptations louder. The distractions more enticing. That's not a sign to quit. That's confirmation you're close. The enemy doesn't bother what doesn't threaten him. If hell is fighting you harder, that means heaven is backing you stronger. You are on the brink of a breakthrough. Don't give in. Don't fall back. Double down. You are not fighting for survival. You're fighting for arrival into the place God already set aside for you. Your spirit will crave more. You'll find yourself drawn to quiet time, to prayer, to deep conversation. Shallow things won't excite you anymore. Gossip will feel like poison. You'll want substance. You'll want truth. That's spiritual hunger. That's your soul maturing. God is shifting your appetite because he's preparing to feed you different. He's about to serve you something that your old self wouldn't even know how to digest. So he's preparing your palate. He's getting you ready. People will start confirming things you haven't even spoken. Strangers will say things that line up perfectly with what God whispered to you in private. You'll hear sermons, songs, conversations, and they'll all seem to echo what's already in your spirit. That's divine alignment. That's God using the world around you to show you you're not crazy. That vision in your heart, that thing you've been dreaming of, it's real and it's coming. You'll start walking different, talking different, not out of ego, but out of assurance. When God is about to do something big in your life, he doesn't just change what you receive. He changes what you expect. You won't settle for crumbs when he promised you the table. You won't chase people who walk away because you know who's walking with you. You'll know your worth and you'll stop apologizing for it. That confidence, that's not pride, that's preparation. You will cry more, not always from pain, but from release, from the overwhelming awareness that something greater is on the way. You'll feel a pressure, but also a peace. You won't be able to explain it. That's the mystery of faith. That's what it feels like when heaven starts leaning in your direction. You won't see the whole staircase, but you'll take the first step anyway. You'll learn how to trust even when it's dark. You'll learn that God doesn't just give dreams, he delivers on them. And right when you think it's over, right when you think you've got nothing left, God will step in. Not because you earned it, but because he promised it. And when God makes a promise, heaven and earth will move to keep it. Your job is not to figure out how. Your job is to stay ready. Stay faithful, stay available. He's not looking for perfect people. He's looking for prepared ones. People who stayed in position even when they didn't see progress. People who praise in the prison before the door opened. If you're in a season where things don't make sense, if your spirit is heavy, your circle is shrinking, and your dreams feel too big to carry alone, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. You are standing on the edge of something divine. Don't run. Don't panic. Stand still and watch what happens when God says, now. Watch how everything starts moving. Watch how what once resisted you starts recognizing you. Watch how doors open, people appear, resources align, not because you chased them, but because favor found you. This ain't just another chapter in your story. This is a whole new book. And the title of it, God Did It. Not luck, not coincidence, not hard work alone, but divine orchestration, supernatural timing, a destiny too big for your past to cancel, too real for your doubt to destroy, too sacred for fear to steal. And if you can just hold on a little longer, you can trust through the silence. If you can stay faithful in the wilderness, you will see the signs. You'll know God's about to do something big in your life. As she sat watching the world go by, something caught her eye. It wasn't so much its color or shape, but the way it was moving. She squinted to see if she could better understand what it was and where it was going, but it didn't help. As she continued to stare into the distance, she didn't understand why this uneasiness was building inside her body. But see, when God is about to do something big in your life, he doesn't just change the scenery, he changes you. He reshapes you from the inside out, because what he's about to put in your hands requires different strength, different wisdom, different discernment. You can't carry what's next with the same mindset you had in the last season. So don't be surprised when the fire comes. The fire isn't to destroy you, it's to refine you, it's to burn away everything that can't go with you into your next chapter. And you'll feel it in your habits, in your thinking, in your relationships. You'll start feeling convicted about things that never bothered you before, that's growth. That's God saying you're not who you used to be. And you'll know it because your tolerance changes. What you used to entertain becomes a distraction. What used to comfort you now convicts you. That's not you being judgmental, that's you being set apart. There's a difference between separation and elevation, but sometimes they look the same in the beginning. And let me say this, not everyone is going to understand this shift. Some people will fall off simply because they can't go where God is taking you. Stop mourning what walked away. Some doors close for your protection, not your punishment. And yes, they might feel like betrayal, they might feel like rejection, but sometimes that's exactly what you need for redirection. God will use a closed door to point you toward the right one. And when he closes it, don't force it back open. Don't chase what he's already removed. Some of y'all are still trying to drag old mindsets, old friendships, old patterns into a new season. You're holding on to what feels familiar, but what's familiar isn't always fruitful. God is not interested in your comfort. He's invested in your calling. And sometimes the most painful thing he will ever do is answer your prayer. Because when you prayed for elevation, you didn't know it came with separation. When you asked for strength, you didn't realize it came with struggle. When you asked for purpose, you didn't understand it came with pruning. But pruning is proof that you're producing. No gardener wastes time cutting back what's not growing. So if you feel like God is trimming your life down, cutting things off, reducing your circle, simplifying your path, it's not because you're failing, it's because you're fruitful. And to produce more, you got to make room. You'll also begin to notice how God starts highlighting your weaknesses, not to shame you, but to strengthen you. Because what's coming next isn't just about you being seen, it's about you being ready. He's not just preparing a blessing for you, he's preparing you for the blessing. You've got to have the character to carry what's coming. Because favor without foundation leads to a fall. That's why the pressure has been so intense. That's why the weight feels heavier, because what he's building is bigger. And in that process, don't be surprised if he strips you of your plan. See, we love control. We love to strategize and predict, but God doesn't operate according to your calendar. He doesn't follow your timeline. He moves in seasons, and his ways are higher than ours. So when the plan falls apart, trust that the purpose is still intact. When nothing goes how you thought it would, remember that nothing takes God by surprise. What you call a delay, he calls development. What you call a failure, he calls formation. You've got to learn how to praise before the victory. You've got to learn how to worship while you're waiting. Because your attitude in the waiting room determines how fast the doors open. If you can only celebrate when it makes sense, you're not walking in faith, you're walking in convenience. But if you can lift your hands in the middle of the mess, if you can stay grateful when it feels like everything's falling apart, if you can believe even when the evidence says otherwise, that's faith. And faith is the currency of the kingdom. Your faith will be tested. Your patience will be stretched. There will be nights where you cry yourself to sleep wondering, God, did you forget about me? There will be moments when you feel like you missed your chance, like it's too late, like you're too broken. But let me remind you, delay is not denial, and brokenness is not disqualification. If anything, God specializes in using broken people to fulfill his perfect plans. Your scars don't make you unqualified. They make you authentic. God doesn't need you to be perfect. He just needs you to be available. He just needs you to stay willing, because when he moves, it won't be based on your resume. It'll be based on your obedience. And when you say yes to God, even when you don't understand, even when it's scary, even when it costs you, he honors that. He blesses that. Obedience opens doors that hustle never could. Some of y'all are in a season where you're doing all the right things, but seeing none of the results. And you're tired. You're worn out. You're questioning what's the point. But let me tell you, seeds don't grow the day they're planted. They grow in silence, in darkness, under pressure. And right now, your seed is still underground. But that doesn't mean it's not growing. Keep watering, keep praying, keep believing, because when it sprouts, it won't just be a flower, it'll be a harvest. You have no idea the impact that's being built behind the scenes. You have no idea the lives you're going to touch, the doors that are going to open, the legacy you're going to leave. But God does. He sees the full picture, even when all you see is fragments. That's why you've got to trust him, even when it's quiet, even when it's confusing, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. You'll know you're close when the warfare hits a new level. The distractions will come from every angle. Old habits will try to creep back in. Voices of doubt will get louder. The enemy will throw everything he can at you, not because you're weak, but because you're dangerous. And he wants to shake your confidence before you walk through the door. But don't you dare retreat. Don't you dare back down. Don't let fear talk you out of what faith told you was yours. You've come too far to quit now. You didn't survive all that pain just to sit in silence. You didn't walk through fire just to stay in the ashes. There is glory on your life. There is purpose in your steps. There is power in your voice. And God is not just going to bless you privately. He's about to reward you publicly because you stayed the course, because you endured, because you didn't fold when it got hard. There's a crown coming. There's a testimony that's going to blow your mind. And the best part, everyone who counted you out, they're going to have to watch you rise, not because you proved them wrong, but because God proved himself faithful. You will see divine acceleration. Things that should have taken years will happen in months. Relationships that were broken will be restored. Doors that were sealed shut will swing open. And it won't make sense to the world, but it will make sense to you because you saw the signs. You felt the shift. You knew something bigger was on the way. And even when it didn't look like it, even when it didn't feel like it, you believed. That belief, that is what separates those who watch from those who walk in it. Everybody won't understand your journey. Everybody won't celebrate your arrival, but you're not doing this for applause. You're doing it because you were called. You were chosen for something big. And if you've ever felt overlooked, underestimated, unseen, know this: God saw you the whole time. And he was working even in the silence, even in the delay, even in the denial. This moment right here, this is the buildup. This is the divine tension before the breakthrough. And if you can just stay in position a little longer, what's coming will be so worth it. Bigger than what you imagined, greater than what you prayed for, exceedingly, abundantly, above all you could ask or think, because that's what he does. That's who he is. He doesn't just show up. He shows out, and you're next. As she sat watching the world go by, something caught her eye. It wasn't so much its color or shape, but the way it was moving. She squinted to see if she could better understand what it was and where it was going, but it didn't help. As she continued to stare into the distance, she didn't understand why this uneasiness was building inside her body. And you know what's beautiful about the process? It's not just what God is doing for you, it's what he's doing in you. See, anybody can receive a blessing, but not everybody can carry it with character. You got to have integrity to hold on to what God's giving you. That's why he's been taking his time with you. That's why he hasn't let certain things come too soon. Because premature blessings can turn into heavy burdens if you're not spiritually strong enough to bear the weight. So he's been fortifying you quietly, steadily, privately, because he knows that when he finally brings the promise out in public, you won't just shine, you'll stand. You'll stand against opinions. You'll stand in storms. You'll stand when people try to tear down what they didn't help build, because you know what it took to get there. You know the tears that watered that soil. You know the nights you sat alone with God asking him if he still remembered your name. And he did. Every moment, every second, he was right there, even when you didn't feel him, especially when you didn't feel him, because God doesn't abandon his vassals. He builds them. And the building isn't always pretty, but it's always purposeful. There's going to come a moment when everything clicks, when all the confusion suddenly makes sense, when the people who left you had to leave so the right ones could come, when the doors that slammed in your face were really guiding you to the one God had reserved for you from the start. He's not making it up as he goes. He's not experimenting with your life. There's a blueprint already written. You are walking into something that's already yours, but you had to be crushed first. You had to be broken down, not to destroy you, but to multiply you, because that's how God works. He breaks what he blesses. He cuts what he wants to heal. And that healing is happening now. Some of you can feel it. You're not as anxious as you used to be. You're not as reactive. You're not chasing validation. That's growth. That's proof the process is working, because what used to shake you doesn't even move you anymore. And what used to scare you, now it strengthens you. That's spiritual maturity. That's divine preparation. And let me tell you something. The reason you survived everything you did is because your name was spoken over long before you got here. God knew the battle would be tough. He knew the path would be narrow, but he also knew you had something in you that couldn't be crushed, that even when life hit you with its worst, your spirit would still whisper, I'm not done. Because you're not. You're still breathing. That means there's more. That means heaven isn't finished with you yet. And you'll know you're stepping into that moment because your desires will shift. You won't just want things. You'll want impact. You start waking up asking God, how can I serve? How can I help? How can I pour into someone else? That's the mark of someone who's been changed by the process. You're not just chasing blessings. You're becoming a blessing. That's what divine favor looks like. It flows through you, not just to you. You start becoming the answer to someone else's prayer. You become light in dark places. You become the vessel God uses to reach others. But don't think that just because you've matured spiritually that the enemy will back off. Oh no, he sees you stepping into your purpose and it terrifies him. He knows the damage you'll do to darkness if you ever fully embrace your call. So he'll send confusion. He'll send counterfeits. He'll try to make you doubt what you already know. That's why discernment becomes your greatest weapon in this season. You got to see beyond what's being said. You've got to feel what doesn't sit right in your spirit. Trust that. God's voice isn't always loud, but is always clear. Peace is his language. And anything that steals your peace was not sent by him. You'll also find yourself less impressed by things that used to excite you. You'll walk into rooms you used to dream of being in and feel nothing. Not because you're ungrateful, but because you've outgrown shallow spaces. You're not interested in being around noise anymore. You want substance. You want real. And that shift, that's evidence that God is calling you higher. Some blessings don't look like new things. They look like new perspectives, new clarity, new convictions. That's what growth does. It sharpens your vision. There will be moments in this next season where your faith will be the only thing you have to hold on to. And that's not a weakness, that's a weapon. Because when everything else fails, faith is what builds bridges in places where there's no road. Faith is what tells the storm it's got an expiration date. Faith is what lets you walk around walls like they've already fallen because you trust the God who told you to walk. And when you move in faith, heaven moves with you. You don't have to force it. You don't have to beg for it. You just have to believe for it. There's a strength coming to you that's not going to make sense to people around you. They'll see the weight on your shoulders, but they won't understand how you keep standing. That's because it's not your strength, it's God's. He's carrying you while he's building you. He's sustaining you while he's shifting you. And the more you lean into him, the less you'll feel the burden, because his yoke is easy and his burden is light. He's not asking you to figure it all out. He's asking you to trust him through the unknown. And somewhere along this journey, you're going to look back. You're going to see all the moments that nearly broke you, and you're going to thank God they didn't. You'll realize that what felt like punishment was really protection, that what felt like rejection was really redirection, that every delay was divine, that every no was setting you up for a better yes, and that everything you lost was never meant to stay, because what's coming next will make it all make sense. You're about to walk into rooms you never applied for. Opportunities are going to find you, not because you manipulated your way into them, but because favor recognizes assignment. You're not lucky, you're chosen. And that kind of favor can't be copied, it can't be bought, it's stamped by heaven. And when God breathes on something, no one can block it. They might try, they might throw shade, they might question it, but what God starts, he finishes. And he doesn't need permission to bless you. You won't have to chase. You won't have to compete. You won't have to strive. You'll just flow in grace, in alignment, in anointing. And people will ask how you did it. They'll want the formula. But the truth is, it wasn't you, it was God. All along, every step, every stumble, every silent night, he was scripting your story. And now, it's time for the unveiling. There's a shift happening in the atmosphere, a release, an unlocking. You can feel it in your spirit. The waiting is ending. The wilderness is drying up, and something is breaking open. Something is changing. You've cried too many tears to stay in the same place. You've fought too many silent battles to settle now. You've survived too much pain to play small. There is glory ahead, and it's got your name on it. All the nights you spent praying, wondering if it was worth it, you're about to see that it was. You didn't just survive the storm, you were strengthened by it. You didn't just endure the fire, you were refined in it. And what's coming isn't just a reward, it's recognition. Heaven is about to put a stamp on your obedience, a spotlight on your surrender, a harvest on your faithfulness. You didn't quit, you didn't fold, you didn't run, and now you will reap. The version of you that's emerging is unstoppable, not because of ego, but because of grace, because of the God who carried you through the valley and placed your feet on solid ground. You'll walk different, talk different, move different, because you've been marked, you've chosen, and nothing, not people, not fear, not even your past, can undo what God has spoken over your life. As she sat watching the world go by, something caught her eye. It wasn't so much its color or shape, but the way it was moving. She squinted to see if she could better understand what it was and where it was going, but it didn't help. As she continued to stare into the distance, she didn't understand why this uneasiness was building inside her body. And here's the thing, when you really start walking in the flow of God's timing, you don't need confirmation from people anymore. There's no need of confirmation from people anymore. You'll need claps, you'll need credit, because when you've been in the fire and made it out with your spirit still intact, when you've had to encourage yourself in the silence, when you've trusted God with trembling hands and a cracked voice, you learn that favor from God outweighs the applause of the crowd. You learn to walk by faith, not by sight, and you start to understand that some of the biggest moves in your life won't make sense to anybody but you and God. Sometimes the blessing is disguised in isolation, in that space where God pulls you away, not to punish you, but to pour into you. He'll separate you so he can sanctify you. He'll quiet the noise so you can hear his whisper. And in that quiet place, he starts unlocking things in you that were buried under people's expectations. He starts awakening dreams you forgot you even had. He starts stirring a fire in your belly that refuses to be ignored. That's when you know he's about to do something big. That's when you know you're in the birthing room of destiny. It's uncomfortable, it's unfamiliar, but it's holy. Don't underestimate that discomfort. Don't run from the stretching. See, we like comfort zones. We love routine. We cling to the familiar. But growth doesn't live there. Breakthrough doesn't live there. If God left you in comfort, you'd never discover the depth of your calling. You'd never access the layers of strength you carry inside you. That discomfort is divine. It's heaven's way of saying, you're too big for where you are. It's time to move. And when it's time to move, you'll feel it. You'll feel that holy agitation in your spirit. You'll feel that quiet nudge that says, this season is over. And the longer you try to stay where God is no longer working, the more frustrated you'll become. That frustration isn't failure. It's a signal. It's a sign. A call to pivot. A call to let go of what was and embrace what is becoming. But to do that, you've got to trust the shift. You've got to release the need to know all the details and believe that God's got the blueprint, even when you can't see the page. There's something powerful about surrender. Real surrender. The kind that says, God, even if it costs me everything, I still say yes. That kind of surrender shakes the gates of hell. That kind of surrender brings heaven down into your situation, because it means you're no longer relying on your own strength. You're no longer hustling to make it happen. You're moving under divine instruction. And where there's surrender, there's supernatural provision. Doors open that shouldn't open. Favor follows you like a shadow. Peace becomes your portion, and you stop striving, you start soaring. Let me tell you something else. People may not understand your journey. Some may call you crazy for holding on this long, for believing in something you can't prove yet, but that's all right. You don't need everyone to get it. You just need to keep walking, keep building, keep praying, because eventually the fruit will speak for itself. Eventually the harvest will silence every doubt, every critic, every mocking voice, because when God blesses you, he does it in a way that no one can deny it came from him. And while you're waiting, don't despise small beginnings. Don't curse the days of preparation. That quiet obedience, that silent faithfulness, it matters. It's building your capacity. It's sharpening your discernment. It's strengthening your roots so when the blessing comes, you don't break under the weight of it. Everybody wants the platform, but not everybody wants the process. But it's the process that makes you. It's the process that proves you. And God won't elevate what hasn't been established. He won't rush what he's building to last. You see, real success, kingdom success, isn't just about the outcome. It's about who you become along the way. Are you growing in grace? Are you walking in humility? Are you loving people even when they don't deserve it? Are you living with integrity even when no one is watching? Because God isn't just looking at your actions. He's weighing your heart. He's checking your posture. He's examining your motives, because he won't give you something that will crush you under your own ego. That's why the pruning had to happen. That's why the delay had to come. That's why he said no to what you thought was perfect, because he was protecting you from something your eyes couldn't see. And one day you'll thank him for every unanswered prayer. You'll thank him for not letting you settle. You'll thank him for the closed doors, the reroutes, the detours, because now you see what he was preserving you for. And let me tell you this, it's not just about you. What you're carrying is bigger than your name, your brand, your vision. It's generational, it's kingdom, it's legacy. There are people on the other side of your obedience. There are chains that will break because you said yes. There are cycles that will end because you chose healing over hiding. There are children that will grow up in freedom because you refuse to be a prisoner to your past. So Don't quit. Don't let the pressure push you out of position. The enemy wants to exhaust you before you even reach the promise. He wants you to mistake fatigue for failure. But you've come too far. You've fought too hard. You've sown too many tears. Don't abort the blessing because the labor pains got heavy. God is delivering something through you that eyes haven't seen and ears haven't heard. And it will be worth it. You were chosen for this, chosen to be a light, chosen to walk through the wilderness and not lose your way, chosen to rise from what tried to bury you, chosen to build what's never been built before, chosen to be the interruption to the generational patterns that ran through your family for years. Chosen to carry something sacred, something significant, something eternal. You weren't just called, you were handpicked. That's why it's been so hard. That's why the warfare has been so intense. That's why you felt the weight of battles no one knows about, because you carry something valuable, and valuable things are always targeted. But you're still here, still breathing, still standing. That means the enemy didn't win. That means purpose still beats in your chest. That means heaven still has a plan for your life. And if heaven hasn't quit on you, you better not quit on yourself. Don't lose hope just because the promise is taking time. What God is preparing you for is worth every second of the wait. The blessing won't just be big, it'll be right. Right timing, right people, right season, right doors. And you'll look back and realize that if he had given it to you any earlier, you wouldn't have been able to handle it. But now you're ready. Not because you feel ready, but because he says you are. So keep your eyes on him. Keep your heart soft. Keep your hands open, because he's about to pour out. He's about to release. And when he does, it won't be a trickle. It'll be an overflow. He's going to do it in such a way that your only response will be, only God could have done this. And he's not just going to do it for you. He's going to do it through you, because your life is the canvas and his glory is the masterpiece. You are not forgotten. You are not forsaken. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. Every delay was divine. Every struggle was strategic. Every step has been ordered. And what's ahead is greater than anything that's behind. Keep pressing, keep trusting, keep standing. Because when God is about to give you something big, you will see the signs. And right now, they're all around you. As she sat watching the world go by, something caught her eye. It wasn't so much its color or shape, but the way it was moving. She squinted to see if she could better understand what it was and where it was going, but it didn't help. As she continued to stare into the distance, she didn't understand why this uneasiness was building inside her body. So now the choice is yours. You've heard the signs, you've felt the stirring, you've seen the shift. God didn't bring you this far to leave you wondering. He brought you this far to position you so when the breakthrough comes, you won't be surprised. You'll be ready. And not just ready to receive, but ready to carry it with wisdom, with humility, with power, and with purpose. Because the blessing that's coming your way, it's not ordinary. It's not casual. It's heaven sent, and the world may not understand it. People may try to figure you out, but you'll walk with a quiet confidence because you'll know it wasn't luck, it wasn't coincidence, it wasn't chance. It was God. Every step, every tear, every triumph, every test, it all led to this moment. So lift your head, straighten your back, wipe your tears, and prepare your heart. Because when God is about to give you something big, everything around you shifts, and baby, the shift is already happening. Now walk like it, speak like it, praise like it, because what's coming is not just a blessing, it's your divine release. And it's been worth every single moment of the wait